All right, hey everybody, Nerds Drink Whiskey. We're here second week down at South Sound Distillers gathering, and we're going to be continuing to talk to different distillers, but don't forget March 25th down at McCoy's. And again, I want to mention, out of my own pocket, I'm going to give $1 per head for anybody that shows up by 7 p.m. on March 25th at McCoy's Tavern. Anybody that shows up, $1 per head to our local animal shelter. We haven't asked for them for permission. I don't care. I'm going to come down there with money anyways. But $1 per head, we're going to count how many people there are, and I'm going to pay out of my own pocket. So come on down, and if you come on down and you're a paying member, you're going to help the local animal shelter too. So, you know, come on down, March 25th. Anything to add? All right. We're going to go taste some whiskey and talk with some distillers.
All right, Nerds Drink Whiskey here, talking to organic liqueurs that are local to Olympia. And we don't normally talk to liqueurs. We're a whiskey podcast, but we would like to see maybe a podcast out there that focuses on them. Is there anything maybe ladies of liqueur or something similar to that? Should, get into these kinds of things. And
let me be very clear about this. Ladies of Liqueur, it's a podcast idea we got, but we totally want somebody to steal it from us. So if you're, of the female persuasion and you want to do a podcast, think about it. Tour around events like this, tasting liqueurs, giving your opinion on it. What do you think? Come on, somebody steal the idea. You could be the sister podcast. We could work in connection with each other. Lots of teamwork. Somebody steal that idea from us. Ladies of Liqueur. I don't know.
I don't think that'll get your wife on camera.
What's that?
That won't get your wife on camera.
I don't think anything will get my wife on camera.
So why don't you give us a little information about what we're tasting here?
Absolutely. So my name is Haley Salazar. I'm with Salish Organic Liqueurs. You guys are trying the honeybush liqueur, which is made with a flower that's traditionally drank as a tea in South Africa and in Madagascar. I think that it's a pretty warm flavor. And what's up? A little bit closer?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
You think?
I want to make sure you're heard.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. And it's very warm. It has a really cuddly-like feeling to it when it goes down your throat, and it has a nice honey finish to it.
Do you remember those honey sticks that you would get?
Oh,
They're
yeah.
little so that in liquor form is what I'm thinking of. Is those little, do you remember those, Mark? No. So you can buy them. They're usually at the end of the checkout stand. They're like the compulsion buys at the end.
You're not talking about bit of honey, are you?
It's a long thin stick filled with flavored honey. Mm-hmm. And one of these is that for adults.
Can I say something? So you mentioned that you guys do whiskeys. Is that correct? Well, if you add a little bit of this to a rye whiskey, I know that goes really well.
Honey and whiskey does go well together.
Yeah.
So anyways, we got 3 questions. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, I'm going to hand the mic to Jeff, and he's going to ask the first one.
Okay.
All right, so we've heard from whiskey distillers what the answer to this is, but we want to know from you, what is the most dangerous thing you can forget when you're making your liqueur?
And feel free to interpret that question any way you like.
While making the liqueurs?
Anywhere in the process.
Just using the wrong ingredients, I would say. We use whole fruits, flowers, and herbs, and so if they're not up to standard, then we essentially waste quite a bit of liqueur, which would be very sad.
Yeah, that would be bad.
All right. Now, we're not ones to shy away from controversy. So we got to have the most controversial question you can ask about whiskey. I know you guys are liqueur, but we're going to ask you an extremely controversial question about whiskey. Ready?
I'm ready.
What is your opinion on no age statement?
On what?
No age statement whiskeys.
That makes me sad. I like to know the age.
I think that's a perfectly appropriate answer.
Yeah.
And finally, what is the thing about your product that makes you stand out? What's unique about your guys? Why do we buy you?
All right. Well, our liqueurs are all 100% certified organic. I believe that there's only 4 organic distilleries that make organic liqueurs. We use real flowers, fruits, and herbs. No artificial sweeteners, no artificial colorings, or anything that's artificial. It's the real deal when you try it.
Good. All right, any final thoughts before we go?
Hope you guys have fun while you're here.
Excellent. Cool. Stay tuned for more interviews with more distillers. All right. Hey, everybody. Nerds Drink Whiskey. And I lied. I said the next person we're going to talk to is a distiller. We're actually going to talk to, can we officially call you a chef?
Sure, go for it.
All right. Chef
Isaac.
Chef Isaac. So South Puget Sound Community College. Now, are you a student or a teacher?
I work for the catering department. I graduated about 3 years ago. Went through the Culinary program and the Bacon and Pastry Arts program there.
All right. So I'm going to try the macaroon. This guy's not going to because he's one of those no-carb people. But as people can very clearly see, I'm not one of those no-carb people. So I'm going to hand the mic to you, and you tell me what I am ingesting.
So that's a French macaroon. It's whipped egg whites with a bunch of sugar and plenty of almonds. And then we filled that with a lemon fluid gel and some poppy seeds.
You're supposed to talk longer. So we got 3 questions. We hear that you do like whiskey.
That's true.
And the first question is, what do you think, this is obviously going to be a guess, but what do you think the most dangerous thing somebody can forget in the distilling process?
Say time or temperature.
Okay. Now I'm going to hand the mic off to Jeff so he can ask another question.
All right, so we're trying to get a broad array of answers to this, and a lot of people that. So, what is your opinion on no age statements?
On whiskey itself?
Yeah, so on whiskeys that don't give an age.
I feel like a lot of the more mainstream ones have dropped that because they blend with younger spirits over time. But also, if you're mixing it, a lot of times there isn't much of a difference for a lot of people. Just, you know what you like.
All right, so the third and final question, and this is something highly controversial. Well, actually, no, that was a controversial one. NAS is very controversial. So the third question is, as a chef, you have Kobe, you have macaroons. What is the food that you cook have to offer that no other chef provides? What is your specialty as a chef?
I like textures. It's one of my favorites. Playing with food, combining it, taking it apart and putting it back together so it still tastes the same, but you don't quite see it at first.
Okay. So, and this is a question that we're only going to ask you because you're a chef. So, you have a bourbon that is finely aged, that is just a perfect blend. It is the dream bourbon. What do you prepare as the meal to go with that bourbon?
Into a bruschetta. Into like a smoked apple butter lightly. Put that over a charred bread, so char some crostini on the grill until it turns slightly black, but not all the way. And on top of that, use some blue cheese, something a bit creamier probably. add a little sage, and a bit of cranberries. Be pretty close.
Cool. All right. Any final words for the viewers and listeners of Nerds Drink Whiskey?
Nothing too much. Just get out there, find some good drinks. There's a lot of options around now. All these guys here are around locally in many, many places. So give them a shot. They all do really good work.
Cool. All right. See you in a bit with another distillery.
All right, Nerds Drink Whiskey, talking to Kim from Mischief Distillery up in Seattle. And, well, we're going to taste some of their signature whiskey.
Yep.
And ask them our 3 questions. So tell us a little bit about yourselves and what we're tasting, and then we'll move on.
All right. So we are from Fremont Mischief, which is in Seattle, Washington. We opened up back in 2009. We were the 4th or 5th distillery to open up in Washington when it became legal. They are trying our oldest whiskey, which is Fremont Mischief whiskey, aged for 7 years in bourbon barrel. We just dumped these barrels about 3 months ago, making it a new formula for us.
Comes on very strong. Then it kind of chills out. Has a good mouthfeel once the initial bam. And then it ends with just a slightly mellower bite as you finish. So I am predicting right now our cameraman will thoroughly love it. It's good. Not really my preference. What's your thoughts?
I think if I hadn't just been drinking a bunch of other stuff and a bunch of really sweet stuff, this would be better. Because of that initial hit, I like the complexity of flavors and the finish on it, but that initial hit is a little rough right now after having had everything else that we've had here. If I was drinking it like on the rocks, would be like great because that would help mellow out that initial hit, which I like to do. I don't know about everybody else, but that's not really an option here when you're drinking it straight. Yeah. So we're gonna move on to the questions, and the first one is, what is the most dangerous thing to forget when you're making your whiskey?
Well, you definitely want to watch the equipment. I don't distill the whiskey myself, but I distill the gin, and you constantly need to be monitoring gauges. We once had someone leave. We asked them to turn off the boilers, but they accidentally turned them up. And so we came back, and luckily someone caught it before it actually blew up our distillery, because that definitely could have happened. So that would be one thing.
That's pretty dangerous. So the second question, this is the most controversial question you can ask a distiller. You ready?
Yeah.
What is your opinion on no age statement?
No age statement. That is becoming more of an industry standard. I don't think I have an opinion on it, really. People are going away from it because you can have good whiskey that is not necessarily 10 to 20 years old, especially with the new types of aging that they're doing in pressurized systems or with oak chips or all sorts of different things they're doing now. I think people are very open to that and open to that flavor profile that it will give whiskeys, so I don't have an opinion on that.
That actually is an extremely important point, I think, because I think one of the biggest problems people have with NAS is the lack of information. So my thought has always been, and I think I've said this a couple times on the show, is the problem with NAS could be solved if they separated it into 2 categories. NASA, or that would be NASA, but or NASB, so if you're using science to distill, like you were discussing, then it's NASA. If you're blending like a 20-year-old with a 3-year-old, then it's NASB, which is blended.
Right.
And I think if they marketed it as 2 separate things, I think that would give people a little more information to base their purchase on, and I think it would help a lot. But anyways, that's my opinion. Third question. What does Mischief offer their customers that no other distillery does?
Ooh, okay. There's a couple things. One being that we have been around for quite a long time at this point. Mischief whiskey, which you just tried, is some of the oldest whiskey out there on the craft market for Washington. The first thing we did was put whiskey in barrels before we even made a vodka or gin. So whiskey is definitely our thing. We also, the reason we got into the market was because of our farmers in Washington. And so we have a very close relationship with them. And that's the reason we only distill rye whiskey, is because rye is much more sustainable for land than corn is. And so we want to make sure that we're keeping that land good for the future. And we also tie all of our spirits to different organizations and causes. So we really support our community that way, because our distiller and the owners, since they've lived up in the Seattle area for more than 30 years, want to make sure that they are giving back to their community, because it has really done a lot for us.
All right. So any final words for the viewers and listeners of Nerds Drink Whiskey?
I love you guys. I love nerds and I love whiskey, so I feel like I'm a part of this group.
All right. See you real quick.
Yes.
What did you think of that Deadpool trailer teaser?
I didn't see it.
And you call yourself a nerd. See you in a bit with another distiller.